Welcome back to the Boondoggle Tapes, a collection of recorded phone calls, emails, and journal entries of Sarah Boone, convicted of murdering her fiancé by zipping him up in a suitcase and leaving him to die. The journal excerpts presented in this video are the personal writings and statements of Sarah Boone. The information contained in these entries has not been independently verified, corroborated, or admitted as evidence in court. Viewers are advised to interpret this content with caution and an understanding that it reflects one party's unproven narrative. The Boondoggle Tapes are meant to spark real conversations about justice, incarceration, and mental health. Today's episode was created for a mature audience and viewer discretion is advised.
It was my birthday. Nothing out of the ordinary from George, who was still in a bad mood from talking to his daughters and ex-wife. His ex had withheld his calls to his youngest daughter the day before. I was determined to have a good day. We had some drinks at the apartment, went swimming, drank while at the pool, then went and sat by the lake. We continued to drink, and I suggested 1 cup rather than 2. We can share. My whole point was to get George to slow down as he cried at the lake, talking about his kids, about what a letdown he is, sad about his mom, just the norm when he starts to drink too much. I didn't want him to pass out or get mean. He guzzled the drink where he went 3 times to make another. The last one he needed cigarettes, so I volunteered to drive since he had too much and I was afraid for him to drive. He made a big deal about it, so I told him he could run the radio even though it was my birthday, or just stay home and I'll go. He went, I drove, he played his music. We went to the gas station down the street instead of regular Lotto Zone so we could also get gas. First, he had me pass the gas station to drive more while he's blasting the music. I drove some down the street, then did a U-turn. Got to the gas station, got what we needed, then headed back home. Before even leaving the lot, he started getting upset about not wanting to go home, where I explained it was my birthday and I just wanted to go home. You know, we had both been drinking and I don't want to drive around anymore. For whatever reason, he totally snapped and slapped me so hard in my face, my neck cracked. I remember just feeling total sadness and shock that he hit me on my birthday. I made a right out of the driveway, then immediately right again back into the gas station. I put the car in park and jumped out and ran around behind a dumpster, also where other people were if he came after me. All I heard was, "You fucking stupid bitch," and watched him drive away. I sat back down on the ground with my back up against the dumpster, knees bent, arms around, head in lap, sobbing. I was so sad. This was my birthday. Something should be better, good, happy. Why is he still hitting me? And for what? I kept crying when some Hispanic men came around asking if I was okay. I got up as I felt uncomfortable as they had just come out of the tequila bar next to the gas station. I didn't have my phone or debit card. They were in my purse in my car. I went inside and asked the clerk at the register if I could use their phone. I called my ex-husband, who came and picked me up. I spent the rest of the day at his house with my son. Later that evening, I went home to make sure my car was all right and to feed the dogs, take care of them. My car was there. I walked around back to see what George was doing. I couldn't see him. I walked around front getting a spare key I hid from beneath the gutter spout and went in. He wasn't downstairs. The dogs were under the table, so I went up to the bedroom where he was asleep across the bed. Apparently, he had gone and bought another bottle of vodka, which was on the floor by his nightstand. My key were still around his neck. I just quietly went downstairs, took care of the dogs, and smoked a cig on the back porch, thinking what a disappointing day with George again. I was happy to see my son and was really glad I had my dogs, and they were okay with them being under the table. I don't know what he may have done to them. In the past, he has kicked them out of the way, off the bed, yelled at them, even threatened to kill them, throw them down the stairs, my blind and deaf dogs. Of course not wanted to wake George. My dogs and I slept on the couch. The next day, George asked why I slept on the couch, and I had to tell him what he did all over again. Same shit, different day, except I asked him to leave again. He just laughed and said, "Not this again," then went to work. As much as I wanted to change the locks, again, I didn't. The day before took a lot out of me. I just dealt with it and went along to get along as usual.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Boondoggle Tapes, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, stay safe and look out for one another.